Today's cars are either way too expensive or just too slow for their price. So that leaves us with one option. We're looking back to the last couple of decades to find cars that still deliver, but will modernize them for today's roads. Welcome to Refresh. The 350Z offers good performance and is a good bargain even today. But it's no spring chicken. It had sort of a timeless design, which Nissan tends to be known for, I guess. But that can only work for so long. The Nissan 350Z is one of those cars that's aged surprisingly well in terms of performance. It's got a front-engine layout, rear-wheel drive, and a 3.5-liter V6 that still feels very much alive, even by today's standards. And while it might not be the fastest thing on the road out there, what it offers is balance. Good power, solid handling, a responsive chassis, and raw driving feel. But let's be real, usually Nissan car designs have a long shelf life, but recently its styling is starting to show its age. I mean, it's been 20 years. In this video though, I'll show you a few mods that will update its design and make it fit on today's roads, hopefully without hurting your wallet all that much. We're tackling pure aesthetics here, so I'll leave the performance mods up to you, although I do have a performance related mod for you by the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. It's worth it, trust me. Starting with the main piece of this puzzle, the front. The front bumper of any car is like a person's face. It's a major part of a car's identity. That's where the N4 kit comes in. Starting with the front bumper, it instantly gives the Z33 a more modern, aggressive, planted look that's actually still OEM looking, or OEM plus at least. The vents and sharper lines modernize the face of the 350Z without going overboard. It looks like it belongs in a newer lineup instead of the early 2000s. You could find them online for a decent price, and even with paint it won't wreck your budget. Images don't do it justice. It instantly upgrades the entire car. Same deal in the back. I mean, look at that. The N4 rear bumper adds that clean, squared-off feel you see in modern sports cars. It's subtle, but paired with the front, it ties the whole car together. Personally, I would say just get the rear bumper, but again, this is supposed to be a budget-friendly list. But if you decide to get the rear one too, you'll have the option of adding the 370Z LED fog light to the back, and it really modernizes the car. However, if you want to keep things low cost, you can also just add any external diffuser to the stock rear bumper and then retrofit any diffuser light onto it. Here are a few links, a basic diffuser and some lights. Go wild. Moving on, then you've got wings. And yes, I mean wings, not spoilers. Here's some quick proof of how a wing can sharpen the 350Z's look. I ran my 350Z with the stock spoiler for a long time, but once I got a wing installed on it, I fell in love with it all over again. Here's a quick example of the difference.
The 350Z always had that Porsche-esque style design, so let's take some inspiration from our German buddies. If you look at the Porsche 911 or even the Cayman and the kinds of wings they use, you'll notice a certain style they always go for. Now, the rear of the 350Z isn't as low as a Porsche, so you could go for a ducktail or something a little bigger that would complement the car's shape. But one of the best options you could go for is a Nismo spoiler, particularly the Nismo V3 wing. But you'll be surprised how some much cheaper options work just fine. One of the best wings that won't cost you much is actually a universal wing that goes incredibly well with the shape of the 350Z. It looks a lot like the Nismo V1 wing, only better somehow. It's way cheaper, looks good, and fits as if it was made for the car. Getting back to the front of the car, this is one of the biggest upgrades you can do to modernize your 350Z. I'm talking headlights. There's a lot of cool options out there when it comes to headlights, but many of them just scream 2000s tuner. Orange reflectors, you know what I mean. Now that's great if it's what you're going for, but that's not the purpose of this guide. Meet the Spec D Sequential headlights. I'd say these headlights paired with the N4 front bumper and a few other light mods are more than enough to modernize the car. And now it's time for that quote-unquote performance mod I mentioned earlier. It's a small little gadget that you can install in your interior. It doesn't add horsepower, but it makes your car, quote-unquote, faster. Let me explain. It's called an electronic throttle controller. What it does is it basically introduces higher voltage to your pedal, which results in your throttle body opening faster. In other words, removes the drive-by-wire feel in modern cars and closely resembles cable control throttle bodies. And that results in the best driving experience you'll get out of your car. Smooth power and incredible responsiveness. I can tell you in all seriousness, you'll never drive without it again. I've been using the Ep.1 controller because I wanted their button feature and keep it flush in the interior. And since the 350Z doesn't have a sports mode, like many modern cars, so this was the best OEM Plus option I could think of. But there are a lot of brands you can choose from. I'd also recommend the engine controller. There are a lot of mods I didn't include. I wanted to keep this short and most importantly budget friendly. but there's a whole lot of mods out there that would massively improve the car if you're willing to pay for it, and of course the result would be even more amazing. However, the ones I've mentioned should be the essentials, if nothing at all.
Now, this guide isn't knocking anyone trying to keep their 350Z factory or true to its styling. This was made for anyone who, like me, likes their car a lot and thinks it deserves an aesthetic refresh to look right at home next to modern cars today. And of course, building something you turn and look at 4 seconds after you park it. What about you? Which mod excites you the most? Let me know if you liked the video by hitting the like button. See you next time.